I'm very happy with the way the record turned out. A lot of times I've recorded records where sometimes, you look at 3 or 4 songs on the album and you consider them not as good as some of the other ones, and you kinda consider them as filler. But I don't think there's any filler on this album. I think every song, has merit to it.
Now, the brand new album, it's called 10,000 Volts. It's out on February 23rd. We've got our first taste of the record with the release of the title track, the self-titled track, 10,000 Volts. We'll get to that soon. But first of all, tell us about working with Steve Brown, because I heard you say that you'd shied away from collaborations in the past, finding it easier to work alone. So how did this one come about? How did you team up with Steve for this?
I tried co-writing with a couple of other friends of mine, and it was going slow. So finally, Laura talked me into giving Steve a call. We got together, and magic happened. I can't explain it. I can't actually verbalize it. All I can tell you is when we got together, sparks flew, and we just kept rattling out these songs one after another.
So how did it work between you then? I mean, in terms of the ideas, did you both come up with them and sit down together and it all just kind of mixed together and the best stuff kind of came from that?
Well, I mean, the great thing about Steve is that he's been engineering Pro Tools for 30 years. So as far as I'm concerned, when I'm recording, the less people in the studio, the better. Too many chefs spoil the stew. So for 90% of the record, it was just me and Steve in the studio alone. And we were bouncing ideas off each other. He'd bring me a song idea. I'd write a bridge. I'd rewrite the lyrics, 75 or 80% of them. And I put down a solo and a lead vocal, and we'd have a song.
And I've heard you say that some of the songs came together really quickly. In a week, you did 2, 3, 4 sometimes. So was it as magical as that? Did it all happen so quickly?
Well, I write lyrics very quickly, and, I've spoken to several musicians that I know, and they said, they struggle with writing lyrics. I've never had a problem writing lyrics. And, I've never been to I never went to college. I never took any creative writing courses or poetry courses. And, I don't know, it just comes natural to me. Sometimes I actually feel like the words are being beamed into my head by, I don't know who, aliens or whoever.
Whatever works.
And I can write a song if the music is set. I can write lyrics for a song in 45 minutes.
Just touching on a couple of the tracks then, one of them I really enjoyed was Blinded. Blinded by Science, Blinded by Fear, Zeros and Ones have got us by the balls. Obviously, it's a song about technology. So give us a bit of the story behind that song.
Well, I remember calling Steve after we were about halfway through the record, and almost all the songs are about girls. And that's a trap that most rock musicians fall into. Yes. When they start writing a song. It usually ends up being about a chick, So I had recently been reading some articles on artificial intelligence, and a lot of scientists and heads of CEOs of corporations, they're saying there's a good chance in 5 or 10 years, if we don't regulate artificial intelligence, it might take us out. So because that was on my mind, I said to Steve, why don't we write a song about artificial intelligence? And even though I don't use the term in the song, if you listen to the lyrics, you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of AI and all that sort of stuff, did you use it on this record, or what's your thoughts on it in general?
Well, I kind of shy away from artificial intelligence. I'm old school. I still plug into old Vox, Marshall, Fender amps. I put them in an ISO booth, and I put the amp in the control room. And, just like, if you look over here, you see his Marshall Vox. And, the speakers are in the other room, which is ISO. which is completely soundproof. And then we bring up this, mic up the speakers, bring the sound, into all my preamps, and then we get it into Pro Tools. And that's how I record guitar solos and rhythm tracks, acoustics tracks. I'll just do in here with a microphone and an acoustic guitar. I usually do my vocals right over there.
Okay.
You can see the microphone. And me and Steve will both wear headphones and turn the speakers off so they don't bleed into the mic.
Excellent. And there's some impressive looking guitars all around the walls there. I mean, what's your favorite of the ones you've got hanging up around you?
Well, that blue one is one of my faves. I bought that about a year ago. Obviously, a couple of my Gibson 59 copies I love. I use on stage. And my Black Beauty triple pickup with cream pickups, that's upstairs in the bedroom. I was rehearsing with that this morning because I'm shooting the video Walking on the Moon Friday. So
fun stuff indeed. Now, in terms of the record then, of course, you're the spaceman, and there's a theme followed throughout some of the song titles in the record as well. Walking on the Moon, as you just mentioned, Up in the Sky, Stratosphere, Cosmic Heart. Was that a purposeful decision of yours and Steve's?
Well, yeah, the song titles that just came up. Cherry Medicine was a song that we put together about halfway through the record. And I remember I had rough mixes, and, my fiance still has like tons of girlfriends she knows all the girlfriends she knew when she was in high school. So there's always girls over here. And, she has a 20-year-old daughter. So they're always coming down to visit when they're here. I'd play them 3 or 4 rough mixes, halfway through the album. And they always said Cherry Medicine should be this first single. But the record company felt that, we should use the title track, kick off the first single. And we're doing Walking on the Moon, which originally was going to be the title track of the album. But I scratched the cover because I thought it was a little too cliched. And 10,000 Volts seemed to be a little more exciting. And I liked the artwork that the artist came up with. And so we decided to release 10,000 Volts first, Walking on the Moon second, and actually we're releasing Cherry Medicine the same day the album is being released, February 23rd.
Ace, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I recommend everyone go out there and get 10,000 Volts. Pre-order it now. It comes out February 23rd. And just one last plug for it, Ace. Tell us why everyone should go out and order their copy now.
Well, I think it's one of the best albums I ever did. I mean, I think it's probably as good as my solo album in 1978, which everybody seems to think is my best album to date. But I think this new album is equally as good as my 1978 solo album, and I think there's more than one hit single on the album. So if I was a Kiss fan or an Ace Frehley fan, I'd go out and buy it immediately when it's released on February 23rd, because you're in for a treat.
Can't say it any better. Ace, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck for the future.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future. I'm doing a cruise,
yes.
Monsters of Rock, the first week in March, and a lot of good things are going to happen this year.
Fantastic stuff. Well, you look after yourself and take care.
Thank you, Paul.